So we are I think that's Mount Batur over there, or this one over here. I don't exactly know which one. But yeah, the lake down here, so it's an extinct volcano, understandably. So with time, the lake formed in it. It's very, very beautiful. On the way here, we went past a Swiss restaurant and saw fondue there on the outside in the menu. And like, yeah, right, this place kind of gives me those Alps vibes. It's very beautiful here. We still plan to go down. So we just stopped at this view and going to eat something here. And as well do the introduction to John chapter 14. The reading, just a reminder, you see the video that was done in the Cameron Highlands in Malaysia, and we are in Bali, Indonesia at the moment. So what is chapter 14 about? Well, there's a very important I am statement in here. Not the last one, the second one, last one, if I remember correctly, by, actually I do kind of just need to count them. I mean, there's 7 of them, I don't know, but yeah. So it starts off with believe in Jesus. Jesus spoke, but remember this is still setting, context, Last Supper. Jesus just in the previous chapter had the first teaching, and the first teaching was by acting it out. Okay, like in a certain sense, I'm kind of acting it out by being in nature when I'm teaching this, right? That same kind of idea. Jesus showed by washing the feet that actually they need to serve each other like he is going to serve each other. Love one another. That is the foundation. We've seen it from the previous chapter. So in this chapter, he's now going to give more knowledge or more theological discussions, right? Those who believe we're not supposed to study theology, there are lots of people like that. It's like theology is just for people up in Bible schools, kind of up the professors, those people. We don't study, we don't need to know God kind of idea, right there. Kind of me, the Bible and the Holy Spirit idea kind of. Well, we are in nature. God is here, God is everywhere. Not in everything is everywhere, right? And we're trying to bring out this theology, because this is what Jesus is doing. Yes, here he's teaching the word, he's giving knowledge of God to the disciples. And that is what theology is. It's logos, study of the science of God, okay? Knowledge of God. So yes, starting off with that he is leaving, okay, but they must not let the hearts be afraid or whatever, or sad, okay, because he's going to prepare a place for him. Because if he didn't, right, so he's going to prepare a place, he will come back and take them with him to that place as well. And then Thomas was like, no, where are you going, right? Well, how can we know the way? And those words of Jesus, how can we know the way, then led to this statement in verse 6. With Jesus saying, I am the way and the truth and the life. And no one can come to the Father except through me. He hasn't put this in his reasoning. Okay, so just for the Russians out there. Okay, so he is the way, right? He is the truth, he is the life. He is laying this, in a certain sense, Thomas again is thinking earthly. Okay, we're going to still see how often Thomas is going to think earthly. But Jesus is thinking of a different thing. He's giving the true answer, not the answer that Thomas could or understood at that moment, but an answer he will understand later on. And yeah, they didn't follow. Okay, so then they know the Father as well. And then Philip's like, okay, so show us the Father. Okay. And Jesus answered to that is, haven't you been long enough with us, Philip? Haven't you? I mean, with me, right? You see me, you see the Father. Okay, the Father is in me. The words, I don't speak of my own authority. The Father speaks, dwells in me. And then he spoke about works that they will do, greater works than Jesus did. And we will look at what those greater works are, because how can you really do greater works than what Jesus did? I mean, I know, I've heard people interpret this verse as, okay, they're going to do bigger miracles. So if, say, for example, Jesus didn't, what can an example use? He didn't move this mountain into the lake kind of idea, right? He didn't say, if you have enough faith, you can do it. But Jesus never did it. So if I now do it, then that means this is the kind of bigger things I'm going to do. No, that's not what Jesus is speaking, but we'll get back to that. Then he spoke about keeping the commandments. He spoke about the promise of the Holy Spirit, that he will give the Holy Spirit ultimately. I mean, that's one of the reasons why he's kind of, I mean, he's not going to leave them as orphans, right? It's not going and that's that for them, okay? The world, I'll see him a little while, then the world won't see him anymore. Why? Because the world is not going to be able to come where he is. But those who keeps his commandments, right? He loves Jesus, and they will be loved by the Father as well. I just got some coffee here to drink, to heat, to warm up because it's cold. So Jesus continues speaking about loving, and if you love him, you will keep the word, right? And if you keep then the word, then the Father will love him as well. And so Jesus spoke in the beginning of the chapter about making these rooms take so that they can. So now they love, they will take him with, so because he's preparing everything ultimately for them. Yeah, so, and then it's as well, again, now the promise of the Spirit. So he said he spoke about all these things while he was there with him, but now he is going to send the Holy Spirit. I mean, and so much as well, again, misunderstood concerning the sending of the Holy Spirit and what the Holy Spirit does. What's the primary work of the Holy Spirit and what's the secondary work? For so many churches and Christians, the primary work totally disappeared, and the secondary work became the primary work. And that's a very sad thing. But we will look at that as well. What is the primary work of the Spirit? Because Jesus is saying it here. Okay, he spoke mentioned in about peace that he is leaving to them. Right? Not the peace the world is going away. He is coming, that he is going away. He's going back to the Father. Right? And that is basically kind of right where he then it ends with up saying, rise, let us go from here. We will as well during teaching, does that then mean Jesus got up there and walked out, or is the rest of the teachings, will that still happen in the room where they had the Last Supper? Okay, so this is another very intensive teaching chapter, theological chapter of Jesus here in teaching us about who he is, who God is, the Spirit, the role of the Spirit. There's so much that's going to come out. So join me as we're going to walk through it verse by verse.